Yes, it's that time of year
Yeah.
again when managing our pennies also means managing our taxes. And we say good morning to Crystal Howell, our own internal auditor,
Mm-hmm.
and also Eugene Christopher,
Yes.
who is a senior tax manager. And this morning we say good morning to you both and thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to talk very shortly to them because this is a time that nobody really likes to talk about, but it is a necessary thing. We're going to focus on corporate and personal
Corporate
tax.
in person.
So we're going to start with corporate because I believe the deadline for it is actually today. So corporate tax filing deadline today. And Crystal Howell is here, as Peter said. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Good morning.
And you brought along a friend to help us navigate this situation, Eugene Christopher.
I did.
Great to have you both here.
Good morning.
So lead us
Morning.
into this
Yes.
session.
Well, I did. I needed to make sure I brought in someone who is an expert in the field because I myself I have not done a tax return since I left Ernst & Young 8 years ago. But Eugene is also a person who spent too many hours helping me to do tax returns when we were at Ernst & Young together, and I really think that he's one of the best persons to be able to help us to get into these kind of details because tax information changes quite frequently.
Yes,
And
yes.
unfortunately in Barbados, you're not always to just go to Google and be able to find out exactly what's going
Right.
on. So we wanted to make sure we have someone here who's going to go into all of the details for us and help us to know what it is we have to know and get us on the right path
Let's
for
get
filing.
straight into it. You know how time goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of companies know that today is the filing deadline
For corporate tax.
for corporation tax. Now, you have two filing deadlines. You have the 15th of March, because it fell on yesterday, the filing is due today. And then you have a June filing, June 15th. Your filing deadline depends on the year end of the company. So if you have a year end between the 1st of January to the 30th of September, your deadline is today.
Okay.
If you have a 1st of October to December year end, your deadline is the 15th of June. So you got some time. Notwithstanding that there are obligations that should have been met even before the deadline. And this is for the March 15 filings.
Okay.
If your 2018 return had a tax liability, then you needed to have a prepayment done by the 15th of September last year.
Oh, goodness.
If you did not make that payment, then you would be subject to penalty and interest. Now,
Penalty and interest.
and interest, correct.
Well,
Correct. So having said that, and you've now at the position where you have to file your return today, all companies are now on the timer system. So they should have their own TIN number. They should all have been registered in timers. The system is a lot easier for filing in terms of electronic filing. Once you know that your return is done, you know what your liability is, you could actually go into Tamis and actually file your tax returns. If you do not file your return today, you have additional penalties. The first penalty would be a filing penalty of $500. If your return is a tax payable and you did not pay today, you have an additional penalty of 5% of that tax payable. If you did not pay the liability today, you also have an additional 5% tax payable.
wow.
And then you got interest at 1% on all payables, the tax payable, and all the penalties that you would have incurred.
So it's best to get this ball rolling when it's supposed to from like September the year before.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, one precaution in terms of your prepayments. If you know that your 2019 tax liability is going to be less than your 2018 tax liability, then you should make a determination for prepayment submitted to the board,
Bruh.
yeah, correct, Barbados Revenue Authority. And that simply requests that I know that I'm not going to meet my 2018 tax liability, and therefore I am requesting that I make a reduced prepayment. So that's simply what that request is.
Okay, so the persons who should be paying this are businesses that are incorporated, or just in case people are,
Correct.
okay. So
Correct.
if you have a company that has ink at the end of it, this is stuff that you should have been doing.
Correct.
Not small businesses.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Now, our small business actually do need to also file. Companies,
The
registered
companies.
companies.
Okay.
Okay.
Registered companies as well. All
Yeah.
right. This is good information to
Correct.
know. But there's a, if you're making over a certain amount of money kind of cap, right? Or
No, there isn't.
it's any amount of money at all you file.
Once you determine that you have a taxable income, and then you work out what your tax payable is, then you need to make the payment. Companies also need to file if you're making tax losses.
Oh,
All companies need to file returns
okay.
who are required to do so by 15th of June. 15th of March, need to do it today.
Okay, so you know what you need to do. All right. Crystal, on a personal level now, what do you want us to know, because April 30th is fast approaching?
Well, we actually have an entire segment laid out for the personal tax returns, but just wanted to add on to what Eugene would have been mentioning. If you recall, when we were talking about the income statement, because a lot of persons may not be aware of where this tax liability would arise from.
Right.
So if you could throw your minds back when we were discussing all the revenue you would earn and all the expenses you have, and then you come up with your net income or net loss figure. So that is the starting point for how you're going to be calculating your tax liability. So just so persons, if you remember, I had a blank segment in there. This is how we would start that conversation about how we're going to be coming up with your tax liability. So we can actually go into a bit more detail as to how you come up with that number, because it's not just to take your net income
Right.
and multiply by a percentage. There's a lot of things that go into making sure that you have the correct number when you're filing for BRA.
Correct.
Okay. So we are going to be talking then more about the personal taxes next week then, Crystal.
Yes.
Yes. Oh boy. That's about the time we have. You wanted to add something very
Just
quickly.
One quick comment. When you file your tax return today, you need to also upload specific supporting documentation.
Okay.
In the event that it's not done, the Barbados Revenue Authority has the authority to actually request
An audit.
additional documentation when they actually process the returns.
Okay. So put all the information that they need there.
Correct.
Just a,
Upload it.
and just a
Upload it.
quick note, if you do have any questions about filing your income taxes, your first point of contact would be the Barbados Revenue Authority, but ICAB is also available to answer any questions you have, and we would have submitted our frequently asked questions to the BRA as we had some consultations and everything going on. So persons who have any questions, you can please feel free to direct them to BRA, and second resort as to ICAB.
Excellent. Thank you both.
Thank you for being here.
Good conversation.
Good to know.
Yes.
Good to know. So I certainly hope that you remember that today's your deadline, and
Get
if
it done.
not, it's June for if your December is the end of your financial year.